Hello. Welcome to a Saturday of game development. Our goal is to work, you know, because that's fun. Our goal is to perform a little bit more work on a card game we are calling Shuffle Wars. Shuffle Wars. The point was if we can perform the complicated issue of chance that is shuffling an order of things like cards, then let's go ahead and make a card game. And here we go. Right? Our efforts are being done in Unity, in the game engine Unity. We're using C# to code, but don't let that scare you. I'd like to just play the game as we currently have it. And where my ability to see what's going on stream is just absolutely nerfed. We're 2 minutes in. I have no idea if you guys can see or hear me right now. It makes me mad. Like I can't. Sorry. Like I can't. All right. Let's try this. Can you see this? No, you can't. All right. Okay. Now, can you see? There we go. So I'm going to play a game. The card game that we have has phases or stages of the game where you do one thing and then you do something else on a different phase. It's between two players, and it kind of looks like this. Round one. You look at your cards that you got dealt, and you're going to put 3 cards on the table. So this is recent. We have the ability to look at our cards. We can inspect a card. And in fact, that's kind of what I want to work on today, is make this look better. Because right now, these are just generic cards, but they could be the actual cards, especially for round one. We do have 5 cards currently in data, so why not make it look like something? That's kind of where we're at. But then you can put them on the table in a particular order. That's the idea. It's only represented with these dummy cards at the moment. But then you go into battle with the cards you've selected, and they go towards battle, and when 2 of them meet, they will flip over and battle, and the battle continues with more cards advancing and more cards joining the battle. This is what we got. The systems for having combat between 2 cards is there. And then we went from there and made combat between more than 2 cards. And then we went from there and made a formation of cards that advanced into battle. And then we went from there and added rounds. So we're going into round 2 right now. Round 2, you get more cards. By now, you should actually have like 7. You're going to pick 4 cards to put on the table, not just like 3. But same idea. You look at the cards and you select what you want to do for this round, and then you go into round 2. At every stage in the development of this game, we've been adding an extra system, an extra set of game rules, and extra implementation here in the game engine to get it to do that. So at first it was like really nothing. We just threw 2 cards against each other and tried to get battle to happen between them. That looks nothing like what we have here. Here, there's far more complexity, and that's just the way this works. You can't just build all the complexity at once. That's just not how things work. Hey, we have a tie game. We're going into overtime. Instead, we layer on one piece of complexity at a time. And so where we are now is integrating this visualization in this phase of the game, in this stage of the game, so that players can select the kind of cards they want to put down, and then they go into battle. So we're at the stage now where we're integrating that part such that we might be able to make it so that these formations are custom to however the player wants to form their battle line. And of course, they're going to select which card. This looks pretty good. This, you can see some visual effects, you can see the advance of cards, you can see how some of the stats of some cards can do better or worse against others, etc. There's still a couple of details about this view and this stage of the game that is not correct. For example, that attack from all the way up here, all the way across to here is something that we want to adjust and make better by asserting that cards that are next to each other can battle, but if they are far away, the battle actually needs to collapse more before they can do that. In other words, that attack, it really shouldn't be allowed, and that will have to come later. There's always a decision about what is most important to do next. And that's how you tackle this kind of complexity. We can allow things to sit there and be wrong for a while, like these attacks all the way across the battlefield. I'll just allow that to be wrong for a while. And that's okay. In fact, there's plenty of questions we still have about the rules of the game that we want to play with. And we're leaving them suspended in a place where we aren't sure or have decided on it certainly. And that's okay. In fact, that's kind of necessary to do design properly, especially when we're doing software like this. I need to develop some things. I need to make things do some of the rules we've decided are probably a good idea. I also need to develop some of the alternate rules and features that we're going to try out soon or later. But for now, when something is wrong like this, like, hey, there's a card way over here attacking all the way across the battlefield, that shouldn't happen. It's okay for now. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the computer selecting just the first cards to lay down and play those, as opposed to like being smart about or tactical about what cards they play. I'm okay with a lot of these rules just being wrong for right now, while we develop other things. The latest thing was making it so that we could just use these buttons and the interface to make the game run from here, as opposed to me being in the engine and actually manipulating things from data that's sitting here on the test script. This is the test script that's actually running the most of the game, not all of it, but most of it. And it was kind of silly to continue working on that when it's easier to understand what we're doing on stream if I show it in this way. It's also a chance for us to work on things like this visualization. So we've progressed to this point after doing a fair amount of work on the combat mechanics and battle mechanics. So those systems work pretty well. We can now concentrate on how this looks from this vantage point. And so, it does look better. There's more to see. It's more kinetic. It represents what we're going for a little bit better. But, think about it. Before, I needed to explain that there were two stages of battle, that there was a pre-battle selection of cards and stuff, and then there was this. And until we could see it, it was hard to imagine, but now it's easier to see. In the same way, we can, oops, this stopped. That's a new one. What is going on? Oh, that's sad. There's a bug. I did recently add the thing to reset the match, and I suspect, even though I tested it, I suspect that caused an issue of some kind. Discard defeated card. I thought I did that. Oh, I'm adding one to something that is blank. Okay. I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. I do reset the battle. And one of the last things I did was this. I recently had a problem that was similar to this, so I actually know precisely what to do. Now, okay. This was just blank, and it was trying to access and add one to something that was blank, which it doesn't like to do. Long story short. All right, so I don't really want it to be a coding stream. It is the game development day, though, so what are we doing? Well, I would like to continue to work on this visualization. By the way, now I've made it so this happens automatically, as it should, according to how we would like the rules to progress. At the beginning of a round, I just started the round. I said do round. And so at the beginning of the round, you're in this view. So it automatically switches to this view for us now. That's nice. And well, among the things I would like it to do, I would like to see the actual cards we have in our hand, because we actually do have cards in our hand. We just don't see them. Here's me proving to you that player 2, the cards we're looking at, are actually here. So I should be seeing cards with colored borders, because this first one is a defense card, etc. These are literally blank cards that I am using for the purpose of testing this mechanic where we can view them and click on them. But I would like to replace these with actual cards. At least come in and say, could you perform the operation that we do when you see them on the table and they are given a colored border for the type of card they are? I think defense is blue. So, can you come in and at least color the edge of this blue? That would be great. So that I can see, oh, I have a defense card, I have a luck card, so blue and green, etc. I'd like to see that. That'd be great. And I think that's possible. I would also like to see these stats. Anytime I'm coming into the game engine and looking at data like this, I want to transfer this knowledge, because if I'm actually playing this hand and saying I need to lay down 3 cards, well, I need to look at these stats. I need to decide, okay, that's a terrible luck card, and it doesn't have great health either, so I'm probably not going to play that one. It's a good luck card, and it has lots of health. That's good, but its defense is terrible, and speed is terrible, so I'm probably not using that. Health, luck, that's good. Defense is good. Speed is terrible, but you know what? I like it. I might use that one. I'm going to play number 0, 1, 2. I'm going to play 2 for sure. What else? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. And the luck isn't bad, too. Okay, I like this. I'm going to go with 3. And I might reorder these, actually. But, oh, the speed is awesome. Yeah. Okay, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. So I'm going to play all 3 of these cards. These are great, but I might order them differently. This is the speed card that I definitely like. So I'll put it like that. Okay, so these are the cards I'm going to play. So I'm playing Lightning Toad first. And then I'm playing Tiger God. And then I'm playing Immovable Object. Those are the 3 cards I'm playing. So me going through and looking at the stats and deciding which ones I want to play, this is what I want the player to do. Of course they're not going to be here looking at that. I need to put that information here. I need them to be like, oh yeah, I want to play this one first and then this one second, right? But to do that, not only does it need to have the colored border, it needs to actually show the stats, especially in this particular view where I can inspect it. I have a plan, and I think we can do that today. So we have the data. I would like to at least treat these cards as if they are duplicates of the cards we know we have in data, so that I can do this and see the same data. I can see the color, I can see the stats. That would be great. If I do that to these cards, then I can, perform this action in the same way. But that would be nice. If the step we do after that is more like, because it's round 2, there should be 7 cards. It's round 3 in overtime, and we have 8 cards. I'll put more cards and more slots on the table for future rounds. That would be something we do afterwards. But I think right now, one thing we can absolutely do is take the data we have and make this view reflect the card that is actually here, at least in round 1. In round 1, you have 5 cards, you lay down 3, and you go. Okay, I'd like to win it, actually. Lightning Toad. It's a speed card, so it's absolutely going to go first, and that was why I put that up front. Speed cards have a high probability of going first, and I wasn't sure it was going to have enough power to do much, but hey, we now are doing well against our opponent. Ooh, we're doing really well. I think we're going to win this round. Oh, overwhelming. Absolutely. Dominance. Fantastic. Okay. I actually want to play this game. And that's a good sign. I actually want to play this game. I want to win now. I have more cards. So round 2, we definitely have more cards. We have 7. Yeah. Cool. And here's the 2 that we didn't play. Right? From the previous round, we have 5 more. Okay. I'm still not happy with those 2, but let's see what we got. We got one with a lot of luck and health, and defense and speed. This is a good one, actually. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right, let's just hold on to that. Keep looking. A lot of health, a lot of luck, but no, thank you. Power, I like this, and the health too. Actually, this is one that can stick around a little bit, even if it's not going to do so well. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, this is something else I don't expect the players to ever do. So is try to count this, because computers count it from 0, and figure that out. But I don't want players to do that. I want them to just select the card and drag it in, this. That's what I want. We'll get there. Lots of speed. That's good, actually. And their health is terrible. That's not great, but you know what? It is a speed card. Lots of defense. Okay. I will take this one, and I will take the next one, and I will probably reorder them. The one with speed, you know what? I am going to put that one first. And so I'll switch those around. And okay, I'm gonna go for it. So I'm trying to win, but I think I should just get back to what we were doing. So I think that's the play. We've got 4 cards going into battle now, and we won the first round. So I'm thinking we're looking good. Okay, so the yellow tells us it's a power card, meaning it was going to do a lot of damage anytime it did hit. Ooh, they have 2 of those. Oh, and it had some luck too, so it got a luck win on my speed card. This isn't looking as good as it was a second ago. Let's see what we can do. Ooh. Oh, maybe. Yay, we won. Cool. And I'll go ahead and test reset again to make sure we can do that. Cool. So our plan is to allow the player to see stats. I want to go to this view. I'd like the colored border, actually. I'm not sure which one to do first, either that one or the stats. But I have a plan for the stats, and we can talk about that. At the same time, it is game development, and that doesn't always mean code. We can talk about art today as well, because these are cards, and they should have a pretty picture on the front and on the back. Okay. So I have a plan. These cards, when they flip over, they have the border, and they have this gray square that represents the picture that will be there someday. And this bottom portion of the cards will have stats, right? Just a pretty standard format for these cards. And until we find a reason to do something different, I'm kind of down with this, because cards should tell you what they are all about. Like, what is significant, what is the meaning of this card, what is unique about this card, The border is nice. I like the idea, even when we get a picture and stats, I like the idea that there's a really quick way to identify the type of card it is, the specialty of the card, The green cards being luck and the red cards being health. I like that. When they flip over, it's not going to be as easy to tell what is the significance of the card by the name or the picture. But this border, this color border, is information that I think is helpful. And again, until I find something better, I kind of like it. But one thing that I think we need to address is the need the player has to really see the details about these cards and their meaning, their significance, their uniqueness. In other words, their stats. The names are fun, but come on. And the pictures are going to be fun, but we really just need to know the stats. That's just the way it is. So, it looks like our bug is fixed, which is nice. I would like to fix this. At this point, what we have is the ability to inspect these cards, but of course this is just a representation. These aren't even the real cards. When we actually have cards on the playfield, they show up here, they are different. They're actually different game objects. But let me just try and put this here in a view that you all can see. The cards are here on the table, and as I click on them, I'll put it right here. There we go. As I click on them, they actually rise up. This is because the camera is actually angled down. This camera it's actually angled down. It's doing something like this. That's why it looks the way it looks. This scene view allows me to look at the game engine and the objects in the game engine. That's great, but it's the camera that really matters for what we're showing our player. So right now, we got this, and that's okay. It's not bad. But I need to do something with this. These cards are copies of a archetype or an original, or in other words, a prefab that is used for all cards. It's easy when I say just make a copy of something that is complex. I don't need to make the complex thing. I've already done that once. So that's here. So I will show what that is. these are things I just dragged in, kind of like this, and made a copy. They are the same thing. I literally dragged them in just to do this work and get the cards to make those moves that we want. But here's the actual original, or a copy of the original, I should say. And first thing you'll notice is it's backward. We are making a 2D game, and part of that is how we face the camera, what properties the camera has. It is not in perspective, it's orthographic because it's trying to show things flat, and so it does that. At the same time, we present things to the camera, and I just put it in this view for, well, simplicity's sake in earlier tests, and I haven't changed it yet. Until I find a reason to change it, I don't need to right now. There's more things to do. So all of our cards kind of start in this position, and then we flip them around, and that's kind of why they look like this. Okay. But part of why we want to look at this now is because I want to add things to it. This literally is just a collection of little squares that I have scaled. So the back of this card is literally a card facing this way. But if I wasn't facing it that way, if I was facing the opposite direction, it would be invisible. That's why I actually have a back piece. The face of the card is the same way. The edge is a large square. I guess it's the back and the edge are the same size. The face is smaller, and this is literally like just a white area where the edge would be turned into a color, like, this, right? And that way we have the ability to just signify which kind of card this is. We just give it a color. So that's actually what's been going on when you see cards show up as a speed card, for example, like that. I hope you can see that. I can switch the material and change the color. Okay. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. The face is a square that is smaller. And then this picture is just a stand-in gray square just to represent where the picture would go. Well, we're going to add on to this because I'd like to see the information for the stats down here. And I can just attach it to this original object, and it will appear on every single card that's copied in the game. Magic. So that's the plan. I'm going to go in and look at this card in detail. If I double click on it, it opens it as if it's its own scene. And so I can look at these things again, but I'm actually manipulating the original. And as I make changes here, I'm going to be I'm going to see those reflected in the copied objects that are in the game. So first things first, I probably want to be able to see this clearly. How do I do this? What I'm going to do is add an object to this card that sits here in the space where the stats are going to be. And what I imagine, actually, let's draw this now. Yeah. Yeah, Shuffle Wars. We have the ability now to be thinking about what this card looks like, and along with some artwork, we're probably going to want on the back side so that all the cards look the same. On the front side, of course, cards have this unique ability where the front side is always different. Well, let's put it this way. The back side is not unique, the front side is unique. But well, this what I'm thinking is, along with the picture, the bottom part will actually have stats, and the easiest way to read that is not necessarily with numbers. Like, I do want it to have these letters here to indicate power, defense, speed, health, and luck. But putting a number next to that is about as difficult to read as anything, and that's not as helpful as, say, a bar graph, where a small amount of power, for example, means a small bar, but a tall bar is going to be like 10. And I think we can construct this with power, defense, speed, health, luck. We can even use the colors, I think. I think it's yellow, blue, orange, red, and green for these bars to make it really obvious. I might keep the letters black just to keep it readable, but then have the bar be tall or short based on the value of the stats. That's the plan. So I need to construct this. This is going to be an object by itself, just a marker that we don't see, but it will be attached to the card. And on that marker, I can put letters like P, and I can put the bar that's colored red or yellow for, actually yellow is probably going to be hard to see. Some of those colors might be difficult to see. I have to look at it. But my thought now is we'll attach a letter, we'll attach a bar, and get the bar to be short or tall based on the value that we feed it. And with all of that on the archetype card or the prefab card, it should be on every copy. That's the plan. Let's see if we can do that. So I am going to make an empty game object for stats. And let's see where that ends up being. Right in the middle, of course, that makes sense. I don't really want to turn this all the way around yet. 90 and 90, yeah, this is, I'll tell you what I might do is just throw these things on there and then adjust it, because what I expect is this game object that sits right there. Sorry, I keep forgetting the avatar's in the way. There's an empty game object, but I know it's right there because I can ask for this gizmo to show me the position. It was the center of it. So it's right in the middle of the card. And what I'm going to do is just hang all the things I would like on it. In this case, I would like a very simple representation of text, specifically the letter P for power. And I don't really want to put any more than one letter because I'm going to be trying to make the most of this space. It's going to be small. I also want it to be readable. Speaking of readable, let's make it black. Okay, and oh, can I, sorry, can I take one moment and make sure I have the music running, because I like the music running while we do this. Um, okay. And again, my feed of Twitch is super laggy. It's way, way, way behind. So I don't know what you guys are seeing, but good. This doesn't need to be a very big letter, but it needs to be readable. Again, I'm just going to throw these letters down, and I'm probably going to make all the adjustments after I see a copy of it placed properly. So see, power, defense, speed, and health and luck. Once they're here, it's going to be easy for me to adjust them all at the same time for like the font size and things. Okay. I at least need them set up. So L, H, S, D, and P. Good. Okay. I do wonder how this is going to be oriented and all that, but I'm good for now. I'm pretty sure the font size needs to be big enough for the clarity of the edge of the font, but I'm going to reduce its size. Oh, sorry, all of them, not just that one. That's what I mean by adjusting all of them at the same time. Okay. Okay, so this, and I think, yeah, there we go. That might be a good size. I think that's pretty good. So obviously this is not oriented correctly. They're not positioned correctly. It's all wrong. It's all right though. So I put a game object here, and I've got the text. And I suppose what I really should do is have a little more structure here. I do want, oops, there we go. And I'm just going to make sure they are actually in order so I can keep it straight. Cool. So there is a labels object. I will also make an object for the graph chart. What do we call this? Bars? Okay. Likewise, there's going to be stats reflected with squares. I am going to be very inefficient and actually make objects. However, I don't need them to have any collision, and I really don't need any fancy rendering at all. So I will make sure that these don't have any of that. In fact, I don't need them to receive shadows or cast shadows. Okay, good. This is about as efficient as possible. And I do want, oh, let's say gray. We'll change the color in a bit. But I'll just leave it quad for now. That's fine. Power bar. That would be a funny name for it. Okay, I'm going to just duplicate these so that they all say quad and are in place. They aren't placed appropriately yet. They're going to be paired up with the letters and stuff, but I have the structure. So what I've been doing is, this is literally the folder system in Unity for the entire project. One of my folders is prefabs, and there is this one object. This is the original card that we've been using as to copy from and make all the cards in the game. By manipulating these changes on this thing, I now have those changes reflected on every one of the cards, including the ones that were in our hand. So we saw, as we went and looked at this view, we saw this, right? Well, magic, 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 because I now have exactly those things the card. Hello? Do I have these things on the card? Stats. Did I not save this? What's going on? Stop. Somehow this is not a prefab? You're kidding me, right? Is this not a prefab? Oh, that would be a problem. Okay. I can make those a prefab then. But why isn't a prefab? That's ridiculous. Yes. Okay. I guess I could just demonstrate this and then I'll go and fix that problem. This has stats. Yeah. These actually have the things that I'm talking about. All right, good. Okay, so I can see letters on these things right now. Oh, they're battling. But like literally what I need to do is change this, right? The stats need to be oriented correctly. Right? It looks like that is actually. Let's do the label. Let's move this out. Oh, it's upside down and backwards. Does that mean this? Kind of. Nope. So this and this. Right? Indeed. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I've been playing with these cards enough. I know what orientation that needs to be. So I will remember that I need to change the stats orientation to 90 and 180. Well, let's do that right now. But along with that, you know, if I make this big, I guess this is easy enough to do. We can actually see this in place now. These big gray squares are supposed to be the bar that we're going to use. But for now, I'm going to actually kind of want to just see what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and my avatar is in the way, which is a little annoying. I think it's okay. So I'm just going to roughly move it over here and pay attention to the numbers that it is moved to. This is a translation in relation to the center of that card. And what I really just want is consistency. You know, if I have an even distribution of cards, it's probably going to make more sense and look better. Let me try that. This could be 0, that's fine. But then this will be the opposite. Okay. So, oh, these aren't centered, right? Okay, so each of these text objects actually has an alignment and things to do. So I will switch that before I make any other adjustments. Okay. All right. Okay. And these are all set to middle, center, and center. So why are these all over the place? That's weird, right? That is interesting. Do these have extra, they do. They have extra spaces in the text. That's why. It's doing exactly what I've told it to do, but I didn't really realize I was telling it to do dumb things. Okay, there we go. So now all these, whoops. I'm trying to undo and get rid of that issue. Okay. This is actually hard to do without changing my view. You know what? So I'll just change the view. There we go. So I'm going to roughly place it, and, basically I can kind of see this. I would like it to be nice, though. Let's try that. And -3. Okay, sure. Let's do that. These are all going to be -3. There we go. So, so these labels are on the card and they represent, oh, this is not exactly centered well. These should come in more. Yeah? Okay. There we go. So, power, defense, shield, health, and luck. Okay. And likewise, I'm going to move a bar over here to represent a lot or a little. And the size and all that stuff may change, but I don't mind it looking a little weird right now. I'm going to go for this size, but roughly the same size as the letter. And I would love it to be an even number, but I don't think it's going to be. I think we're going to have to deal with this. These are the same. 0.9, 0.45, 0, 0.45. Yeah. So it's not a coding stream, but it's about as boring, I have to tell you. These are changes in the game engine. I'm just selecting them all at the same time and hitting scale at the same time just to make it easy. But as I'm playing around in the game engine, what I'm doing is sometimes I'm actually looking for the things that I want my code to do. This is going to have to be smaller. I wish it were an even number, but it's just not going to be, and that's okay. All right, so these correspond to the values that we want to do. The goal, though, is going to be we want them to be scaled up and down for the value that it is. So it's not going to be like 1, like I kind of want. Yeah, I'm thinking about actually making a little more complicated so that it is 1. But if it had to be 0.75 as a scale to show how much power there was, that would be fine. The smallest amount, I guess, is 1. I guess that would be 0.75, would it not? Yeah. So this would be, oh, okay, that's not too bad. A difference between 1 and 10. Okay. But notice this is also squishing, right? Instead of shrinking and going down, it's squishing. That's not quite right. In other words, I not only need to squish it, I'm also going to need to move it. Yes. Well, first things first, I'm going to want to put this in a place that makes some sense. Let's try that and move it up some, a little up more. Okay. It's actually not terrible. I like even numbers, and this is close enough. Yeah. All right, it's going to have to be 0.3. So if this is at full value, in other words, a 10, then I'm multiplying the scale times 10. In other words, this is going to be the value of this stat, whether it's power or defense or whatever, that value is going to be from 1 to 10. And I'm going to multiply that value times 0.75. Because if that's 10, that means it's going to be 0.75, and it's going to look like that. If it's going to be 1, it's going to be 0.75, and it's going to look like that. So the scale is going to be the value times 0.075. That's the scale in Y. Okay, cool. the same time, though, I need to adjust this, I need to adjust the local y translation value. Well, 0.3 is where it sits when it's full. What does it have to be when it's 0.75? Wouldn't it be nice if it was just some nice number? Well, it could actually be. I don't know. Probably not. This is probably, ooh, actually, it's not bad. Yeah, it is a little high. Okay. So it's not going to be exactly 0. It's probably going to be something like negative 0.05. Ooh, that's probably exactly what it is because I'm looking at these numbers. Such a nerd. I mean, and if anyone's watching this VOD, you're a nerd too. Nerds unite. Yeah, I think this is right. So this is what it's like when this value is 1. It's squished and it's moved down. So negative 0.05. Yep. You bet I'm going to remember these numbers. I'm absolutely going to remember these numbers. I'm actually pretty good at that. So, cool. This is a construct that has all this going on. This is great. I'm down. I guess I could color these as well while I'm here. That way I don't have to come back. Oh, let's see. Power is yellow. I don't know if this is going to stick. It might be too hard to read these colors. I don't know. We'll have to just test and find out. I don't mind taking a good guess and coming back later and adjusting as needed. Luck. There we go. Cool. I mean, yeah, it's okay. I don't have a material for this, do I? No, it's a particular material for font. That's okay. I don't mind this being black right now. That's fine. Cool. I think that's right. All the cards in the universe should now have that. I'm really shocked this is not a prefab. I'm going to have to fix that right now. These cards were meant to be a prefab, and I just didn't do that. They are hidden, and then we run the game. And as we run the game, that appears. So where is it? Right here. There it is. So that's how that works. But this is these are supposed to be. So my grand plan was to be able to see that chart on the card right now, but of course not. Let's fix this. Make it visible, and I need to just simply replace these, which is not rocket science, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. I'm going to do that and get rid of that. I'm going to drag this as a child of this card and then drag it off. By dragging it in and making it a child, it immediately sets all of the position, rotation, and scale to exactly what its parent is, which is great. That way I don't have to type in numbers and whatnot. Oops. Okay, that's just a quick way of making that happen. So I think now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's great. These numbers got just ever so slightly messed up. Of course. This is called floating point precision. An issue with, well, math. Let's just call it math. It was trying to approximate and make something equal. And in the process, it really thought it needed to give it all this precision, but I'm looking at it now and I can tell you that's not not only not necessary, but it's actually a problem if I allow that to continue. So, okay, fixed. Cool. So now these are, in fact, prefabs. That's why they're blue. They are copies of this thing, which means they actually have all that good stuff. What I wanted was, while I go in and mess with this, it is also messing with every copy, including these. But for some reason, these weren't copies. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I am quite certain the cards that are in this hand need to be properly referenced by this script. It knows this hand is here. Will it know? It might automatically do that. I think my script automatically goes through one by one. So this might be fine, as a matter of fact. They are in order, so I think it's going to be good. Should we risk it? Let's risk it. Let's see what this does. This player hand needs to be off. And then we can test. So we made a small change to the master card. And we can see that change is now reflected in this thing. Ah, we're in a perspective camera. Right. I'm looking through a perspective camera. That's why this looks like it's going off in perspective. But that also means that the card that is technically flat is at a slight angle off to the side here. And that means that these raised items, like the bar and the letters, are actually offset a bit. Actually, I can see the image, that gray square meaning the image, is also offset. I didn't notice that till just now. That's okay. But all of these cards actually have this, which is nice. So as we go into battle, we'll see cards do the same thing. Oh, they have their... There's a few things I want to adjust. First thing is, see, now that we're in the orthographic camera, that perspective issue isn't there. But I need to move these letters. No, it's more than that. These letters are being rendered on top, even though they are probably behind. Well, they're either behind or they're right inside the face of the card. Yeah, I'll have to adjust that. Along with that, as you can see, this needs to come in more. I need the all the bars to move in a bit. No big deal. I'll just make all this smaller. Hey, this is why we test, right? Otherwise, the rest of the battle works the same. Of course, these values aren't reflecting the stats in the card yet, but we'll get there. Okay, cool. I would like to fix the look of it. I will let the perspective issue just sit there. I don't care. That's fine. So, based on what I saw, I think I need to move this in about that much. I would think. Just keep this even as I go. Probably like that. Probably exactly like that. Yeah. And here's more perspective issues I'm not happy about. Wait, is this supposed to be 0? It is. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I have a strong feeling there's a few adjustments I'm going to want to make to the text because the text is being rendered in a special way. These objects, these old objects from an early version of Unreal, were just used to render text quickly, like what I'm doing. Notice as I rotate around this object, the text is there and it is still there. In fact, it's looking like it's rendering on top, even though it is behind. Well, it's meant to do that. It's meant to be rendered all the time. But I think I can fix that. Can I fix that? I do wonder. This is not right. Yeah, that's not right. That is absolutely not right. Would I have to render this in a particular way? Yeah, see, this is actually a fact of this shader. That's what's going on. It's meant to render the font on top. That's what's happening. Hey, these aren't supposed to be doing that either. I don't want any of this garbage. None of that garbage, thank you. I don't need any of that. Okay. But that's a good question. Like, what shall I do with it? I don't want to see the letters until you flip it over. And the letters want to render all the time. They're meant to be for like interface, obviously. I mean, could I just switch out the material for something silly and standard? Would that break it? I bet it would. Let's try. No reason not to. Okay. Well, it doesn't like rendering it, that's for sure. These are simple materials. These ones that I made. I'll bet I could create a material that does something similar. Well, if I look at a legacy shader for font, yeah, I don't really want to do this now, actually. I'm going to let it be bad. I'll let it look terrible. And I will fix it. This is the default font. Can I use this? Actually, can I do this? That'd be great. That would be, no, of course not. I'm gonna fix this later. So I'll remove this and I'll come back later. My issue is simply that when we see the backside of the card, we see the backside of the letters, even though they're on the other side. I kind of don't care at the moment, and I can think of a quick fix that solves this issue anyway, which is to simply hide the entire display of the stats until the card is over. And I already have a mechanism that's talking about when the card is flipped up or not. It's actually called Card Flipper. Perhaps I will adjust this whole object and turn it on or off based on whether the card is flipped up. Easy enough? Probably. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll fix it later. Not a big deal. But for now, I do want to test and make sure the adjustments I made look decent. Let's see. I need to see it from this view. Now, like I said, I'm gonna ignore that for now. Okay, that looks better, actually. Yeah, I might make these letters smaller. Don't need to be that big. I can read it easily from here. In fact, it's the same size as this font, and I don't need it to be that big at all. So, let's do this. Can I go all the way down to half that size? That sounds extreme. It's like an eye test. And then again, it's actually not bad. Especially if I bold that text. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Hey, does this mean I can move this? Does this mean I can make this 1? So close. I actually think I could. And you know, I'm just that much of a nerd. I'm going to adjust this such that it's just easier for me to render this. Now, hold on. The border that I'm forgetting about, I need to actually think about here. Edge. Let's color the edge so I can see it. Okay. I'll turn it back to white in a second. I just want to figure out exactly what options I have for this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get those bars out of the way. The letters are actually in a nice place. I'm gonna keep them there. Okay, all right, okay, all right. Then I will make this 0.8. And I will bring this up to 0.25. So it sits right about there. And that actually, oops, that actually looks fine. That looks fine. Cool. Sweet. I'm going to plan on adjusting the bar for each stat based on it sitting here at 0.25 when it's full. And when it is 1 instead of 10, it'd be 0.8. It will be less than 0. Ooh, there we go. That is not quite right. Yeah. All right. Ah, 0.1, really? Nice. Okay, so when it is 1, this will be 0.1. Really? Wow, that's nice. And when it's 10, it will be 0.25. Okay. I'm just going to remember those numbers. I'm going to start adjusting these things. These quads are in order, just like these letters are in order. Okay. I think it's good. So by just going in and asking, like double clicking and asking to adjust this, it will save it automatically. Oh, I forgot to fix the edge. Go. In fact, why don't I make it light gray so that I don't forget that again? Okay. Cool. And that way it makes it easy to adjust prefabs. The original is now adjusted, so all of the cards actually have this chart on it now. Just like they already have things that detect whether it's flipped up or not, etc. Cool. So if I play this test again, you should see a revised version of the card, and the chart is nice. Again, I'm ignoring the fact that it's a little bit off center because perspective. I will fix that later. It actually looks correct when it is in orthographic, which is what I care about for here. And again, we will fix the issue of seeing reversed on the backside. That's fine. Boy, this does look like Play School. I'm not really pleased with the colors yet. Yeah, It looks ugly as sin, and I don't mind that right now. We will fix that later. In fact, I might just mute the colors somehow, but I'll do that later. I really just want to get the functionality going now. Now that I have some visualization, let's get it visually correct, and then we'll move from there. This is not awful. It's not awful. It's okay. Given that we already do have stats, I should be able to adjust the size of each of these bars based on the stats so that you could look at the card and quickly see what those stats are. I guess at this point, now I'm wondering, do I really want to actually see the number though? Like, not just the bar being tall or short, but actually the confirmation of a number. Ooh. Yeah, that might actually need to be there for clarity. Here is what I'm talking about. Right here, I'm saying, yeah, just show the letter in the bar and done. But actually, is that enough? Like, do I know what the value of this D is right now? Nope, I don't. Should I? Yeah, I actually probably should. It will matter if I'm looking at these cards and trying to compare two cards, and it's difficult for me to see just by looking at a bar. In other words, do I also need some kind of number on that bar? Like this. I don't know. Maybe. And we can add that, I suppose. Okay. For now, I'm going to continue to get the functionality to work, which I'm not ready to get it working on our player hand yet, but I could get it cards that are in the game. I'm going to do that. Pay no attention to the code. I will get there. Give me 2 seconds, please. Well, I do like the idea of performing a lot of this off stream and then just showing up and saying, "Look at all this progress." Um, it's gonna be the rare nerd who shows up on stream and is like, "Oh, but show me how." Fine. So this entire development has been more or less me just doing a lot of work off stream and then showing progress. For the most part, that's fine. But it does make sense to kind of show some of this development. So we're doing this little task. Again, I have a strong feeling I should be able to access the cards as I run the game and say like do round, do play. I should be able to access these cards here. And I should be able to read these stats and transfer those stats to the appropriate card so that I can change the length of the bar and the size of it, right? Scale as well as the position. These two numbers here. Right now they're set as full 100% or 10, I should say. But let's change that. Each card does have, if I drag this original in, again, make a copy, each card does have this thing called a card referencer. As the name might suggest, I use it to reference each card, including things like the edge, so I can color it. And I haven't done anything with the picture yet, but I have a reference to it, so I can do things. I absolutely use this to fire off the visual effects and stuff. So I'm going to do the same thing to access our stats. The cards are blank, and I even fill in their name and stuff. So what I would like to do is create a reference to the game object that is, well, I guess I do want stats alone. And then I want stats alone because I want to be able to turn it on and off just to at least solve that issue where we can see the backside of the letters. Yeah, I think I actually want this. But, do I need more than that? I don't know that I do. Here's the thing. I should be able to access stuff all the way from up here. Like, that is to say, this root object, I can go and find all these things. But I'm going to refer to directly this, which is nice. And the question is, should I just put in references directly to these to make it easy? In this test, there's frankly no reason not to. But I'll tell you what. I'll do this now. Save. So my script now has the ability to have a reference to stats, and there we go. So this is now on every card because I just changed the prefab. And just to confirm that is true, this now has a reference to its stats. Okay, good. Well, likewise, I would like these to be referred. We can't see it right now. Let's turn it off. But what I'm wondering is, should I this should have this script that is really supposed to just be a data object, it's really only supposed to hold data. I've already extended it to do things like hide the card because I'm using that now. But, if I had it do something important like set the stats, that would be a good thing too. And what I would want is it to take it. Sorry, I would want it to take 5 values: power, defense, speed, health, and luck. They are all integers. So I will just do that. I know this means the 5 integers that this stat has, and I would like to reflect that value in the length. In other words, the scale of each object we use for these bars. And then there's a little bit of translation to do too. As a matter of fact, let's save those numbers. It was a local scale in y of 0.8, which equaled 10, and of course 0.084. Okay. When I was looking at these bars in the engine, this is the number I was paying attention to. We looked at this, and I was looking at the y scale of it. It's the local scale because it's local to this object right above it. This object also has a local scale to that, etc. And I also care about this local position. I will remember that. And it is in y, in fact. That equals 10, and it was 0.1, if I remember correctly. Cool. All right. Nice. Those numbers help me because I'm going to do the algorithm to set it appropriately. But first things first, I think this object should hold 5 game objects as the bars, which is to say those 5 colored bars representing the stats. Should be found at start. And then I will hold on to them. So these are objects under this reference called stats. Boy, I'm really not validating any of this data, which is awful, but it's a test. Bars does equal something. Does. What does it equal? Well, there's this card stats thing, and as I'm here, stats, I want to go find children. These are 2 children of stats. I'm going to find the child called bars. This transform component is the thing in charge of children. Transform, find bars. Okay, now this, if this is valid, oh, right, I need to have it equal to multiple game objects, not one. This, let me just, this returns a transform, not a game object. So I actually want to, well, I'm probably going to use more of the transform because I need to find the children of this. So give me all these children. Get child, get children. I need to get each child is what I need to get. Oh, first things first, I need to know how many children there are. Yes. Okay. This is bars needs to equal something. That's true. It needs to equal an array of game objects that is equal to that child count. In other words, I'm going to have a series of bars remembered by my script. I need to go in, look at bars, and say, how many children you got? It's going to say 5. Okay. And I could just set 5, but that's fine. Cool. Now I need to actually assign these because there is 5 now, or however many there are. And for each one, I want it to equal this child. That is a transform, so I actually want to get child. Sorry. Yeah, that child. And this is also returning a transform, is it not? It is. Okay, so I actually now want to reference the game object. And there we go. Okay. So I said, give me, I want it to remember all the bars, these objects. Cool. I say, hey, bars, how many objects you got? It said 5. I say, great. I'm going to remember 5 things. And then for each thing, go in and actually assign each one. So this should be doing it in order. And I think that's correct. I sure hope so. So I have 5 bars. It should have all of these bars in order now, and that's great. So now when I say these stats, it should relate directly to the bars. Let's test that theory. Let's see. First of all, this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gosh, I'd like it to be a simpler thing than that, but I think it's just going to be me doing it 5 times, which is lame, but okay. Because I'm going to call this function, I'm going to say, set the stats to, and then I'm going to give it 5 numbers. So I'll just do the work here. That's fine. When I have a number, it's going to be between 1 and 10, and I need to translate it so it works with these numbers that we found. The bar, like bar 0 for power, is going to have a local, transform. Local scale, there we go, its y value of local scale is going to either be like 0.8 or 0.08 or whatever. When it's 1, when the value of the power is 1, it's 0.08. When it's 10 times that, it's 10 times that. That makes sense. So my algorithm should look something like this. There's the p value. That's the number. Let's multiply that times 0.8. This will result in a float value. That's what the f is about. I think that's kind of it, right? Oh, I do need to do some busy work to make this work. Big deal. Scale, local scale. Actually want all of the local scale of this object to start with. And I will come back after I am done and assign it back to itself after having messed with it. That's how Unity wants me to do it, just to protect the data. Oh, programmers, you're silly. So I think that's fine. This literally will do that. Whatever the power value is, it will make the scale appropriate. But that's not all, of course. I also have a position. do position first. It is the same thing. It is going to be the case that I'm going to want to condense this and make it more elegant. Because right now I can already tell this is not going to be elegant. I have 5 values to assign, and I'm going to do exactly this operation 5 times. In other words, duplicating code. Ugh. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, this is also a y value, and it's going to be between these two. So here's where it gets a little tricky, because the one I did for scale was easy, you know, 0.08 times the power. That's what the scale is, done. Well, that's something else. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's between 0.1 and 0.25. Now I could just do the math and say 0.25 minus 0.1 equals 0.15, yeah? Okay. This means is if the, sorry, that's not exactly right. If it's 1, it's going to be 0.1. If it's 10, it's like it's that, actually, plus 0.1. Sorry. This plus 0.1. So it's almost like I need to take that and add 0.1. That's exactly what I need to do. This value is going to be, this times 0.24f, and then I'm going to add 0.1. I need to do the multiplication first. That's why I have parentheses there. Okay. Because at minimum it must be this, but the maximum is this. Well, you do the math. 10 times this is going to be 0.24. Sorry, that. Yeah, this is not right. It's not right. I know I want the minimum to be that, so I'm almost certain I need to do this. And if I just said, yeah, it's p times 0.1, well, that doesn't work, because that means 10 would be 1. Instead, 0.25 minus 0.1 equals 0.15. So what is it? This is a division by 10. Would give me the wrong answer because I need to start with that at 1. I mean, I could do this, right? Because 9, no, that's wrong too. Nine times this is 0.9. No, that's wrong. Why is this so hard? Math. So normally I would just bash through this and test and make that happen. And I might just do that, actually. That sounds fine to me. 0.1. Actually, I'm going to say 0.25 and set that at its center. when it's at the maximum, so it will scale, but it's not going to be positioned correctly yet. This is a difference of 0.25, and that number needs to go lower the higher this value is. That's what's messing me up. Yeah, I actually need to say subtract that amount when the value is 10. No, when the value is 1. Yeah, I'm going to bash this out later. Okay, so I think this is going to get power to look right. I'm going to have to change this number over and over. Wow, I really don't want to do this 10 times. I do this. I mean, yes, where I switch. Okay, I just added a namespace I don't want. Yes, it did. Switch and give me I. Yeah, totally. Because in the case that is O, I'm actually thinking about P is the value. Let's take integer val. Sure. Actually, let's go ahead and say 0. 0 can never happen in our system for stats. So it's safe to do that. I'm going to say val equals P. Okay, so in other words, data comes in as this P, D, E, whatever. I need to go through 5 things, and each time I'm going through a new thing, I make val equal that thing. So now I only have to do this once. Yay. Okay. Because instead of explicitly saying 0, I'm going to say I. Hello. Because I'm doing this the same over and over, I needed to sort of prioritize thinking about how could I possibly not duplicate code. Done. This should be PD. Visual Studio. Are you helping, or are you just getting in my way? Yeah. So I thought. This says, please put a break. It cannot fall through. Yeah, please do this. Is that what it's telling me to do? Oh, no, I need to break, of course. Duh. Being silly. You always have to break when you do a switch. There we go. Okay. And it doesn't care about that. Thank you. So P, D, S, H, and L, it's reading these values. It's doing that, at least for the scale. Yes. So I should be able to call this function from somewhere good and make that happen. Yes. Somewhere good, like a place that already has, oh, I don't know, the card referencer. Like when I make a card referencer, and I'm reading stats, like when I'm setting the edge color. Where am I doing that? It's not here, is it? No, it's not. However, I think I have all the data right here. First of all, cref is the script I was just playing with, and it does have set stats. This does. Okay. So this card I now have its power and everything set because I have access to this. Is that true? Ah, I meant P1 play cards. Okay, so P1 play, and it's I. Is that where I'm at? Yes. Right. Cool. So this is a card. In fact, I can say, oh no, this is cards. And I can say, give me the power. Oh, so I can do this. Can I do that? This is why I was saying make this a single method, because I'm actually duplicating it for player 2. Name, see, give myself a to-do, and I just ignore it. Later, I wish I didn't ignore it. All right, speed. Health. And luck. And that will be called, and it should be fine. I'm going to test it with both player 1 and player 2, as long as I don't call the wrong stats. Oops. Okay. What we've done is we've made a function that accesses those objects we put on the card. The function sits on a script that is already on the card itself, and we're accessing it to do things like setting the name and things. And so we say, well, why don't we just go ahead and set the stats? That's precisely what this function does. Oops. And so if everything goes good, we should see these bars change in scale at least, because yes, that's exactly what this does. All right, let's see if that works. This is here. All right. Now, I don't expect it to be on this display because we haven't done anything with this. This is still the dummy cards that haven't been placed with the proper cards yet. But hello, what's this? Well, this would be why we test. We found a bug. It's going through bars, but this should have been set already as a bunch of new game objects. Really? This doesn't exist. Oh, it hasn't actually started? Really? Okay. Actually, that's a good thing to know. What's happening is I have created the card object in code, and I've set this stuff up in code, but I'm relying on this function to be run on the very first frame it exists. And this is actually still running before that is actually called. So it's trying to access something that hasn't happened yet. Whoops, no big deal. I just won't rely on this at all. So it's not supposed to be happening anyway. Instead, I'm going to just check to see if this already exists, and if not, then I will make it exist. I will make it happen. That way, if it's already there, I don't do anything. But if it's not there, I'm going to do it. This effectively takes the place of that thing I was doing. Start. But I don't need to do that. Okay. So here we are. I say play. Say battle. We're ignoring the thing we see. Okay, so these numbers are not right. That cannot be right. Poor zombie bear. So I wonder why there's any change at all. Oh, isn't that interesting? These are slightly different. I would expect in sort of all or nothing kind of thing. That's weird, right? Let's keep looking at this because I don't know what's up. But I have a feeling something is actually working. Just not the thing I expected. Let's try it. So here's, these are actually changed. Interesting that all the bars are the same. This tells me there is something working. Just not the thing I'm expecting. Yeah, actually, you see the scale has changed. Okay, so those first cards I was looking at just happen to have very high values. But the fact that these are all the same, that's the problem. Cool. Let's find out why they're all the same. They shouldn't be. I mean, it's not just a coincidence. They are actually. That's a bug. That's a problem. Let's go find out what's up. Okay, I do want to pinch the bottom. And this is a bug. What's up? Oh, is this referring to my code? No, it's not. Okay, so it's a separate issue, and I don't mind that. I think it's because I'm accidentally clicking these buttons out of order. That's fine. That's another thing I'm ignoring. So yeah, actually, these are changing their scale. That's good. But they are only changing all of the scale, not individually. That's bad. Let's fix that. If we can figure out that problem. And then we'll get it to translate appropriately. So yeah, for example, we could look at the data. If I look at counter shiv, for example, which is the value that is so tiny? I have a strong feeling it's going to be that. Let's see, counter shiv. Power. Yep. So clearly, power should be small, but then defense should be the biggest. That's not what that looks like. All right. I have a strong feeling we're going to see the problem immediately when I go here. PDSHL. Do these things. Find that. Find all the children. Make sure the bars are correct, actually. Yeah, get child. Yeah, actually, that is correct. Val equals P. Oh, I'm just accessing P down here. I'm not accessing val like I had meant to do. That would be one. Okay. Val, please. And likewise, I'm going to want to do something with this and use val. Okay, so, but, I mean, let's be thorough. Let's test. Let's be rigorous, as science wants us to be. So if I look at these cards, I should see stats reflected in the little bars, and they are different. Good. They are reflected. They are different sizes. Yes. But I need to change their position so it actually looks like a bar chart and not, I don't know, a waveform. Okay, but good. I can actually see the relative strength of the different cards. It is related to the color, which is kind of fun. I have a very strong feeling we're going to need to see the number too. Gosh, I can tell already that's what we're going to want. But not to get distracted, we are simply going to move ahead. I'm going to make the position be correct. And what is the correct position? You ask. I also ask that. Regen blood is this one. So while it's running, I can just go in and play. What I expect is, as I have a thing with a value, let's see, divided by 0.8, this should be 3. If it is 0.1 to start with, and it's about here, if it's 3. Oh, this is not helping me because it's almost 0. It is 0. Huh. Yeah, 0.25 because this is 10. This is a health card. It should be 10. This is 0.64. This is 8. Huh. What should this be? 0.2? I am trying to see the pattern. So the algorithm I need to write actually makes some sense. 3, 2. This is going to be 4. And this is, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not seeing the pattern yet. It's not jumping out at me. It's not, although this is close, right? Wait, wasn't it supposed to be 0.1? And this was 0.08? Oh, it was supposed to be 0.01. Is that right? Wait a second. Now I'm totally confused. Because I want the bottom of this to be even. I thought I kind of had this down before, but now I'm questioning the numbers that I was remembering. I think this is more like it. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? 0.01. But this is also... This is actually 0. This should be 0. Really? So this is 3. This is 1. And the difference is 0.1. So it starts at negative 0.1. So this is actually wrong. Okay, that's good to know. So if I start at negative point, is that true? Yeah, negative 0.1. And we're going to go up by 0.1 every 2. Wow. All right. The value times that, I think. Is that what we're talking about? Well, what would 10 be then? This would be 2.5. This is really close, but it's not exact yet. Darn it. So this is why I didn't want to have these odd numbers in the position and scaling, because now I'm sad. Math is not fun. But this is at 10, and the position is this. This is at 1, and the position is that. It's at 3. Ugh, so evil. and this is at 4. Is that right? That can't be right. That looks wrong. Isn't it? Boy. The scale was darn easy, and the position is messing me up. I'm going to start at this value, and I'm going to use the difference between 10 to reduce this position closer to negative 0.1. That's what I'm going to do. Starts at this at 10 and gets closer to this at 1. So I guess this is, I'm asking it to do math for me. I think that's what I'm asking it to do. This. Over the course of 10. That can't be right. Is that right? Okay, now do math for me. I mean, really, that's what I'm saying. Which, or is it minus? It is minus minus, which means plus. So this is actually that divided by 10, which is this. Okay, so I need to take the value, multiply it times this, and do something with it. Sounds good. That's good. Val times that. And what am I doing with it? I'm going to start with page 5 and subtract that. I guess. Don't know. Time to test. Because I've already spent so much time trying to get my math right. I think it's just more efficient to test and adjust. I'm going to have to do that anyway, so let's just do that. What I'm hoping for is charts that show the stats on the cards, because we added them to our cards. I will have to, it's doing it actually backwards, is it not? It is backwards. It shouldn't be moving at all if it's 10. Right. It was doing it backwards. Let's see if we get closer. It's almost time to finish the stream, at least the scheduled portion of the stream. If you're tuning in wondering, why isn't this streamer playing Valorant? It's like, well, it's because this is more interesting. Wow, that's closer, but that's not good to me. Closer means that I still have the math problem. It's not right yet. It is nicer though. And I can actually see relative values, which is good. I almost want to see how much this is off, because I can tell Flying Shark has a luck value of 1. Yep. So how far off is this? This should be negative 0.1. Yeah. So I'm going to figure this out, but it's literally going to be watching me struggle, which is not fun viewing. But I'm close, and I will get there. And we did make some progress, and we did put these things in. And this really does look like Play School. That's just like totally not adequate. But it's clear. I guess that's good for now. Instead, what I will do is adjust so that the bars are lined up appropriately on the bottom. I mean, yeah, I could solve this problem a couple of different ways, but I will do that part. I will leave the Play School colors where they are for now, and I will I guess I'm going to think about putting on the numbers before I do much else, because I'm here dealing with the stats, and I can already tell it's good to see the relative strength of things. Like I can tell this movable object actually has nothing going for it. But the numbers are definitely going to be better. It's going to help a lot more. Cool. I think for now there's good reason to say this is helpful, especially from a view this far away, and you're trying to see what's going on. It's just better. But I think there's reason to think that this clearly could look better for what we want to do. I don't think these cards look good that way. We need to change how they look. That was another thing we were going to talk about today. In terms of development, we have the ability to mess with this stuff and make it look better. And we could certainly talk about, what those things might look like. But I'm glad that we could at least just do a little bit of progress on the visuals in our test. It needs to get done anyway. Whether it needed to get done right now or not is, it's okay. We always want to focus on what's the most important thing to get done now. Not that lining up these bars is the most important thing in the universe, but while I'm here, I would love to get this out of the way and finished so I don't have to think about it again. And that way, it actually became the most important thing in the universe. So I will continue to work on that and bang on the simple math that I'm using to adjust the position of these bars so it lines up in the bottom, given the values that it should have. In that way, you now know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on this line of code until I get it right. And there's no reason for people to sit here and watch me struggle with math. I will just bang on it until I get it. And that's my plan. Sticking to it. I think it's fun to progress with the game, and like I have said many times, I would be doing this anyway. The idea that I would also stream it is just an extra bit that I enjoy because I can, because it's just fun. That's all. If you enjoy watching these VODs, show up on stream when we're actually broadcasting, because there's good music and jungle sounds you can't hear on the VOD. And with that, I think that's all. I'm sure I'm just going to continue to work, but this is a good place to break it. This is the scheduled place to break it, and in that way, I think that's good. Thank you.